Hello, hi everyone.
Hi.
Salut Leah. Hi. So excited. Happy Wednesday. Happy beautiful day wherever you are on the globe. Morning, afternoon, evening, lunchtime, of course. It's a pleasure to have you here. I know we are in for a very special episode. Obviously, in all objectivity, with Leah. So, for those of you who haven't come before to those sessions, feel free to come, say hi. I'm keeping an eye on the chat, so we'll make sure to answer any questions as we go along. You might have some. I definitely have plenty I want to ask you on that topic. So, before we dive into it, would that be okay to share a little bit more about yourself, Leah?
Not sure. Okay.
Okay, I'm going.
Bye-bye. Hi, everyone. I am Leah. I'm French as well, so you might hear the French accent. Um, I'd say I am a guide today on your journey back to your home, back to your heart, and I use some tools that I love and that I have integrated in my own practices for years, which are mindfulness, energy, harmony through Reiki, breathwork, but also the power of presence, of listening, of consciousness, the power of trusting ourselves, our inner guidance, and really something like self-reliance. It was always important for me to understand how I can rely on myself and how I can teach others to rely on themselves as well. So call me a guide, call me a friend, call me a confidant, call me whatever you want, but I'll be here today to share with you some wisdom about the power of presence.
So exciting. I mean, yeah, this is literally, I'm so happy we're here because I thought about January. I thought, how can we start the year on the right track? And everyone's just running around like headless chicken. I thought, no, I don't want to do that. I want to talk about energy. I want to talk about grounding ourselves. And I think this is exactly what we are on for today.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the first question for anyone who is with us right now would be, what actually does that mean? The power of presence.
Yeah, actually, it's the first point I wanted to address with you because it's important to know what it means and to feel it for yourself. So just take a moment to just be for a second and connect to your body breathing. And just remember the last time you knew your body was breathing. Maybe it was a few hours ago. Maybe it was a few days ago. When was the last time you knew you were here, sitting and breathing? So to make it simple, what is presence? And to understand what is presence, I want to ask you, what is not presence? And the opposite of presence, it's absence. Right? So if we're not present to ourselves, we are absent. When we are not here, we are abandoning ourselves somehow. So we live in a world where we are disconnected from ourselves, from our bodies, from our minds, because we are on autopilot, like you said. We're just running around, doing. So presence, it's like the most radical act of self-love we can give ourselves. It's an act of rebellion. It's the pause between feeling and responding. It's the sacred pause just to allow us to see what is going on within ourselves and have this power to choose. Do I want to nurture what is happening within me and react right away? Or do I want to empower something else? So presence is a power, a force, an ability, an inner energy that sees, that is aware of whatever is happening within ourselves. And with this presence, we reconnect to the power to choose, to decide, to change, to interrupt. I always give this example. Before, I used to bite my lips and I used to harm myself and my body. And I wasn't doing that. It was unconscious behavior. And when I started working with presence, with mindfulness, with awareness of myself, I would catch myself doing it. And through that, I could just say, I don't want to do this anymore. But if I'm not present with the act of doing it, I can't stop it. So being present with myself, I could say, no, I don't want to hurt myself. I'll stop. And progressively, I managed to stop doing this. So what if you could just change, reprogram yourself, your patterns, your behavior, just by the act of being present with yourself as the body is doing it, as the mind is running through self-doubt, self-harm, or negative self-talk. What if we could just be present with ourselves and say, I choose something else. I know it's happening, but I have a choice now. Do I stay involved in this or do I change?
Yeah.
So
And I think it's hard. Sorry for interrupting, but
no, go for it.
I think it's what's really hard because, for example, I know last week for me, I had so many things in my head. And like you said, I think it's almost like counterintuitive, even though it's the best thing that can happen to you. And I know obviously we're going to talk a lot about like tips and, how to really harness the power of presence. But already, would you have any recommendation to actually pause and stop and do that for yourself? Because I feel like sometimes it's just hard. Like I'm just looking at it, like I've got my to-do list, it's all there, like that's my way of coping, but I know it's not allowing me to be fully present like you're talking about.
Yes. My answer would be you have to train yourself to be present. This is not something intuitive because this is our true nature, to be present, to be aware, to know what is going on. But when we grow up in a society that is conditioning us, that is encoding some thoughts or behaviors, it's hard to return to our true nature. So we have to train ourselves to do it. And I have 2 ways that I can share. Do you want me to share now? You want to go?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just do it.
Let's dive into it.
Teach me.
So 2 ways. One is formal practice. So now I'm talking about meditation, but I'm not talking about guided meditation where you put a band-aid. Oh, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling nice. I'm present with myself. We want to get to the truth of the body and the mind in the present moment. We want to return to the now. What are you thinking now? What is going on in the body now? What's your position? So practice 20 minutes every day in silence. In Buddhism, because I teach Buddhist mindfulness, we use an object, something to ground you, because I mentioned the difference between presence and absence. So you need to be able to discern and create the nuance we say, the contrast between when I'm present and when I'm not present. For instance, you drive from A to B, you arrive at point B and you have no idea what you did before. Or you're reading a book and you come to the last sentence and you're like, I don't even know what I've been reading, because you are absent with yourself. Same, you come back home after a full day of work. What have I done today? Have I brushed my teeth this morning? Where are my keys? I was absent. So we need to choose something to keep us grounded. So in Buddhism, we have 40 different objects of practice, but I will choose 3 for you that you can practice. So first one is the body breathing. So you have to train yourself in meditation, first thing, to connect to the body breathing. Then you will forget. You will be absent. And your job is to return to the body breathing, so that you know the difference between I'm present, I'm not present. So you train yourself. If the body breathing is not working enough, you can use a mantra. In the Buddhism that I practice, we chant Buddho. So we just chant Buddho, 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 Buddho. And then we just notice when the mind is doing something else. You might be chanting in your mind and then the mind goes somewhere else to plan something, to talk about something, to feel something. So you return to your anchor. Another one can be using like a physical object. So especially when you're working, you can have a crystal, a stone, or something you hold, and you will forget that you are holding something.
I've got the same. It was not meant to be. I've got the same. I'm sorted.
Show me your color. I love it. We're advertising for the brand. So sometimes I just walk and I hold something and then I'll forget that I'm holding something and I will realize, oh, wow, I was completely lost in thought. And just the fact that you are aware of that, you are present and you're back.
Okay.
It's like we are asleep and we wake up. Presence is just a moment of waking up to ourselves. And when we wake up, it's like, I have an example. I was walking on the beach in Mexico last year. I was listening to a podcast And I was so lost in thought that I couldn't even hear the podcast or see that I was in a beautiful place. I was completely lost. And at some point, presence kicks, like automatic presence. And I hear again, I see again. But for a moment, I wasn't there. I wasn't where my body was, where my mind was. I was completely lost. And if we are able to return to ourselves as frequently as possible, so we need frequency and repetition. So I come back to what I was saying. You meditate 20 minutes. You choose a grounding object. You return to it as much as you can. During the day, you plug something. So we'll have to be intentional. We have to force ourselves to return to ourselves because we're not used to it. So choose something you do already. For instance, you go to the bathroom. I don't know if you are like me. I go to the bathroom a lot because I drink a lot. So maybe every time you go to the bathroom, you do a check-in with yourself. You just take a moment to be present. Oh, I'm here in the bathroom now. Because presence is kind of an act of a rendezvous with ourselves. It's like a meeting. And we don't meet ourselves enough. So we meet ourselves in meditation, but during the day, we plug an intentional act of presence to something we already do. Brushing our teeth, washing the dishes, being on the phone. We can train ourselves. We take the phone unconsciously most of the time. We go and scroll on Instagram, right? Train yourself to know when it's happening. So intentionally you say, okay, now I'm going to commit to pay attention, to be present when my body is grabbing the phone and I want to go on Instagram. And when you catch yourself doing that, you're present with yourself. And then you can choose, do I really want to go on Instagram now? Or do I want to grab a book and read? And you can interrupt the pattern. And so you build up the momentum of being present and present. Like right now, I'm seeing my body moving. I'm attuned to my body sitting. I will reconnect to the breath here and there. Not all the time. It's not possible for me right now. I'm not there, but as frequently as possible and repeatedly. So that's the key. We need to do it as often as we can. And accumulate as many moments of presence with ourselves as possible so that it becomes natural and automatic. Does that make sense?
It very much does. It very much does. And I feel like, for me, for example, I started that journey with guided meditation. I know you said it's not the right one.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's a different purpose. It's it's helpful, but not in the same way.
Yeah, like you said, I think it's like holding your hand, but it still doesn't allow you to fully connect with like really truly checking, like you were talking about, right? So I feel like maybe after today, what I've been able to commit to myself is the 5 minutes per day. I can't do 20 minutes because just my mind is racing all over the place. But I'd like to take the challenge to do that. The point is, maybe after today, what I'll do is a 5-minute seated by myself, just like with the timer, for example, and see how it is. So I'll keep you posted on that. That's the one thing. And what you were sharing, it definitely does make sense. And I would say, for anyone who's listening in, who's like, yes, I know I need to do more of that, but my days are just so busy, like with work or with family, with kids, whatever that is, I would say, like you were sharing, think about a good way for you to start. Would it be, like you said, just having a rendezvous with yourself when you're going to, like, don't over pressurize yourself and be like, oh my God, I'm missing everything. Just take it step by step to actually commit by grounding yourself a little bit more. I would say is my take from what you shared as well.
Totally. And using something you already do. You don't need to create another moment. You need to, true mindfulness is mindfulness in daily life. It's not only meditation. It's, you have to be able to know, I'm holding this and it helped me coming back to me holding it right now. It happened. It's real. And the key is really like when you train yourself to do that, you gain so much power. You gain the power to listen to your own needs, but also to listen to others. You gain the power to choose to reconnect to your vision, your dreams. You get the power to connect with your success, with gratitude, because we want success sometimes. What does it mean to be successful? And when we have it, because we're not present with how we feel, we don't know it's here. So we think, oh, I'm not successful. But just take a moment to be present with how you're truly feeling and where you're at right now. Take the pause and you see it's not true. So when we're not in presence, we are lost in lies. So presence is also truth, is also, like you said, I'm not lying to myself. I want to know how I'm truly feeling in the moment. And doing that, I release whatever is holding me back, because I allow myself to feel and I free myself. Because when we hold on to things, we just stay stuck.
That's very true.
So it's a medicine. To me, it's the most powerful medicine, because it's possible, it's achievable in daily life. It's not
accessible.
Right? You don't need to meditate hours a day. I mean, like you said, start with 5 minutes, then maybe 10 minutes. And maybe you do 5 minutes morning, 5 minutes after lunch, 5 minutes at night. Just creating the rendezvous, the meeting with yourself, the check-in, and your life will change. Even when you're washing the dishes or, cleaning the house, see the body doing that, and see when you're lost in thought, when you're forgetting that you are doing this. And you'll come back. And the more you train yourself to come back with repetition and frequency, it's happening automatically, and it becomes easier.
Yeah, I was about to say, and I think this is Anna in the chat. Thank you very much for sharing. She said, your present can reflect better on how you actually are. I think to build on that, like you said, for anyone again who's listening in, don't feel like it's going to be a forcing thing that you're going to have to do. It's actually at the beginning definitely does require some effort to ground yourself. Just thinking about that, I've got this rock. This is just a rock that I had when I was walking on the beach in December. And funny enough, when I took it, like you said, it grounded me during the walk to just absorb what's happening, the nature around me, the people. And also, fun fact, it just draws back to that moment where I was just putting my feet in the very cold water in Brittany, which was probably like 7 degrees in December. Anyway, moving on. Point is, it might take effort at the beginning, but after that, I know I see myself, like you said, for example, going to my emails and be like, whoa, before I get into my emails, do I really want to go to my emails? Do I really need to go to my emails? Is there anything else I need to do before? Like the whole thing with presence, obviously it's about honesty with yourself. And I feel like you owe it to yourself, right, to do that. That's the first thing, like non-negotiable one. But the second thing also is that it can free you up from external influences that you don't even realize are influencing you. And I think this is like the beauty of it.
Absolutely. I think we move from being a victim to responsible and a master of ourselves. Really, I use the word self-mastery because through presence, you know yourself, so you can become the master of yourself. You can learn how to self-regulate your emotion. You can become more emotionally intelligent. I call this heart intelligence, actually. Presence is being intelligent in your heart, because your heart watches what's going on, and your heart is wise and brave and good. So we can return to this and not being caught in the world's, rush or pressure or anything we don't want to do anymore. We return to something that is real, that is true to ourselves. And this is a power. So it's like a discernment we gain through presence. It's like you said, I have this moment where I say, okay, wait a second. Do I want to go and scroll on Instagram? Do I want to go and do this now? Is there something better I can do for myself? And with the choice, you choose better, you become better, you do better, you create better, and it all gets better. Not in the sense that it was bad before, but it was just some lies, some misunderstandings, So,
yeah, I was about to say misalignment. I think from my side, I mean, this is how I felt like when I was like this.
And it's false beliefs about who you are. You're not this. You don't have to be ruled by the patterns, the unconscious choices or beliefs. You can gain control over that. And by control, I mean mastery, and good mastery, being right, being fair, being good. So
The
it's
way I
about
see, yeah, no, 100%. The way I see it, and I'm curious to have your thought, it's probably very simplified, so excuse me for that, but I feel like there are three layers almost to this. Like the first layer is the external world, the influences, the people around you, their judgment, their fears thrown at you, the technologies, everything. That's like the external factor. That's the first layer that you have to peel off. And the second layer is the layer with yourself where you've got your faults. So, like you were saying, your limiting beliefs. Sometimes they are also empowering beliefs, but all of these thinking patterns, the same things that you repeat over yourself over and again. That's the second layer that you have to go through to go to the core, like the third layer, which is actually, like you were saying, connecting with yourself, being present, reminding yourself of your breath, everything that is going on for your body, so you can truly connect. So I know it's, some work, but I feel like those are the three steps that you have to go through to truly be with yourself.
And, beyond that, I think just by the choice and the intention to be present, you break all this. Like when you're mindful, you become what we say in Buddhism, equanimous to anything that arises, any thoughts, emotions. We just become neutral. We're not involved. So there is this detachment that is created. And by simply right away being present, you don't even need to think about all this because you're naturally detached from the world, even your inner world, outer world. You stand on top of your mountain, you can observe from here, and you can choose this yes, this no. And you can, like you said, empower whatever you want to empower within you first. And then it has ripple effects on the world around you. So whatever you choose to nurture, to nourish within you, to empower, will have effects outside of you.
Love it.
And presence is accessible now. It's each moment is a new right now. Each moment is different. It's a new one. And we can enter with presence. And the more we train ourselves, the more we gain presence over time. So it's direct. It's direct. Of course, like we said, we need to train. We need to be intentional first. We need to force a little bit, but then it gets natural.
And it's for the best.
Mm-hmm.
I know we probably touched base already a lot on that in terms of why it's important, but from your perspective, why it's important for you to own to your power of presence?
Because first, I always wanted the truth of everything. I don't like when people lie, and I feel when I lie to myself. And I realize that when I'm present, I'm honest. So I stand by my own values of honesty, of authenticity, of integrity. The second thing is, I think it allows us to come back to the heart, to our true nature, to our inner intelligence. And when I observe the world, I realize we're lacking this. We are lacking this form of productivity that is a sacred pose within ourselves. So it just makes us better humans, brings more humanity at work, at home, with our families. My relationship with my family has changed so much, with people, with everybody. It's so different now because I'm not reacting to my impulsive behaviors. When I'm angry, when I'm frustrated, I'm not projecting anymore onto the world. I take responsibility for how I feel. I pause. And then if I need to express, I communicate. But from a place of calm, groundedness, not from a place of, oh, I need to project because this is your fault. I'm not blaming anyone anymore. So the responsibility, and I feel like we all need to be responsible for how we feel first in order to build a world that is interconnected, that is collaborative and collective. So does that make sense?
100%.
Is it fair? And so, yeah, I feel it's way more productive to be present and to take some moments to practice that and to be true to ourselves.
Talking about being present, I can't believe it's been 25 minutes already. I feel like literally, I don't know if it's this or, us or whatever. I feel like it was just 5 minutes, but it was a very intense 5 minutes conversation. So considering the few minutes.
Everyone can send us photos of you holding your Stabilo.
Yes, please do drop them below. 100%.
Let us know your color.
Yes.
That's a presence tool.
Exactly. I'm definitely going to use that more often now. In the few minutes that we've got left, do you have any final tips, word of wisdom, recommendations that you want to share for anyone listening in?
Something I can share is about compassion. That is connected to presence, in the sense that when we are present with how we feel, we have the opportunity to accept, to bring more love and care to how we feel, whatever it is, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable. And through that depth of seeing ourselves, understanding ourselves, we can understand others. And in the work that I do, I help women, loving themselves more and listening to their truth and act accordingly. And I understand that I do a good job because I've connected to my own pain, to my own discomfort, with lots of presence. And with that tool, I can understand others better and help them better. So at work, at home, when we connect, when we're present with how we feel, again, whether it's comfortable or not, we will be able to connect with others on a deeper level. And I think this is also important for the planet. We can connect to the earth, to animals, to other people, to everyone on a deeper level, just because we accept to be responsible and to be here for ourselves. So there is a benefit of compassion as well. That is super important to me.
Love it.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think there is a better way to finish that. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much, because it was a very special session today. So very glad that you were here with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.